Right now we have Alisha D. Brown coming up. She's a career consultant. She is, I don't even know how to describe her because she's so fabulous. I love her. She has the best attitude. She's very positive. She is a master at what she does. And today she's going to be talking to you about bragging rights. She's also my soror, so that. So let me, without further ado, I'm gonna go off the screen again and present to you Alisha D. Brown with Alisha D. Brown Career Consulting.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, everybody. Bina, you can go ahead and pull up the PowerPoint, please, ma'am. Okay, so before I get started, I do like to do a small introduction. The majority of you probably already know me, but for those who don't know me, my name is Alisha Brown. I am the owner of Alisha D. Brown Career Consulting, LLC, where I educate and mentor transitioning military and veterans on developing marketable resumes without the use of military jargon. I am also an HR external consultant for small business owners, those with 500 or less employees, where I focus on employee relations topics. Those topics could be anywhere from performance management to discipline to conducting audits, you name it, anything to keep the business running smoothly. So today I am going to talk about your right to brag in your resume. You know, what gives you the right to do that, how you can do it, and we're going to move from there. So, Benny, you can go to the next slide. Or can I do it? I can see it, but okay, there we go. I couldn't do anything on my side. Okay. So, how can you develop your right to brag? You simply use the skills you have that you possess naturally, those skills that you have gained through your service in the military, the skills that you have executed on other jobs, and the skills you receive through volunteer work, and that volunteer work can be paid or unpaid. So when you look at your skills, if and this goes more so for private sector resumes, and I give this portion to you because of the way the private sector resumes are built, the way they are formatted or outlined. Typically, you'll see at the very beginning of a private sector resume, you'll see an introduction or what we would consider to be a professional profile or a career summary. And then right below that, you should have a section labeled skills or something of that nature, right? This section is where you would list everything that you could possibly bring to the table that is relevant for the position you are applying to. This is where you have that 6 to 7 seconds to gain the attention of your reader, to make them want to continue to read your resume, but then to also invite you for the interview. Okay. So a lot of my clients, I have to remind them that in order for you to get that 7 seconds and beyond, you have to dig deep. You got to dig deep, and you have to remember what you have instilled in yourself, both on the natural side, meaning what you were born with, and also that you may have gained through training. Okay, next slide. So there are two types of skills that come into play when you are developing your resume. The first type is called your soft skills, and then the second type is called your hard skills. Now, you won't typically put these or identify these on your resume like this, to say like soft skills in one column and hard skills in another column. Instead, you would intertwine them and you would mix them up and make sure you're using those skills that you have that are relevant to that job. Keep in mind that your objective here is to get the attention of the reader, but also let them know what you bring to the table. How can you fulfill that job? How can you help them with their need? That's what you want to communicate when you are listing your skills. Next slide. So the first type of skill we're going to talk about is your hard skills. These are skills that can be measured, meaning if I ask you how many computers can you program in a week, that's how I can measure your actual skill to do so. You'd say, oh, I'd probably be able to program about 32 computers in a week. And that will tell me if you would meet my demand. Can you fulfill that job equitably to where it's beneficial for the agency or for the organization as a whole by programming 32 computers in a week? Okay. So hard skills can be measured. How much, how many? Here's where you think numbers. Okay. When you're developing your resume, a lot of times I am seeing people not include numbers. Numbers drive a resume, whether that number is a percentage, whether it's a whole number, a fraction, whatever it may be, your resume should have some type of number adjusted to it. Here is where is a good place where you can put in numbers, but it won't encompass at the beginning of your resume. It'll be incorporated throughout your resume, okay? Hard skills are also those skills that you learn through training. The training can be classroom, it can be apprenticeship, it can be OJT, it can be any type of webinar. Okay, those skills that you have gained through a classroom or apprenticeship or some type of training is where you would get these hard skills from. Some examples of hard skills are welding, computer programming, wood crafting, forklift driving, typing speed. I'm a typer. I think my speed right now is kind of like at 96 word per minute, I believe. And I don't know how many errors I have. So they're probably not my percentage down a little bit more. Project management and Google Analytics or marketing. Okay, so these will be considered in your hard skills. Now, how much weight does a hard skill have on your resume? I would say it's about half and half. Okay, I believe your resume should be encompassed of 50% hard skills, 50% of soft skills. And now I'll give you some examples of soft skills. Next slide. Okay, your soft skills. These are your people skills. These are your people skills, all right? They can be worked into various situations in your life and the life of others. That is key when you are thinking about your soft skills and how it plays. Always think about people, okay? And it comes in multitudes. You don't just have one type of soft skill, you have multiple types, okay? These soft skills are, again, those that you were or should have some sense of when you're born, or you may be able to gain or even mature them as you go throughout your career life, okay? Your soft skills can be oral communications, attention to detail, or you're detail oriented. You're resilient. I've used resilience before because it was fitting for the job, okay? Teamwork. Teamwork is like number one in 2020 right now for some reason. Even under this pandemic, I have a few clients that came to me. I think I've only done maybe 3 resumes during this pandemic, and they were all for remote jobs, by the way. But all the positions that they were applying for were geared towards teamwork. And so I'm starting to see that a lot, and it makes sense, right? Because we're in a remote type of scenario where they want to know how good you work in a team, whether that team is in person or whether it's one that will be via a webinar or Microsoft Teams or Zoom. Teamwork is really driving it right now. So you want to make sure in your skills section that you say the word teamwork. Okay, it lets everybody know that yes, while you're an independent worker, you can get things done, but you're also driven by being on a team as well, or you have the capabilities of working on a team. Another example of soft skills is critical thinking, leadership skills, negotiating skills. I see negotiating skills a lot in the financial world, those dealing with numbers. You want to make sure you talk about your ability to negotiate. Written communications, decision making, and again, I put teamwork up there again. I wanted to drive that to y'all. I want y'all to make sure y'all know teamwork is very important. Okay, so when you think about your soft skills, always remember that you want to tap back to dealing with people, okay? All of the skills that I've listed here, and trust me, there are so many more, but these are just the ones that I see so far, that I've seen so far, of where it's taken precedence in resumes in the year of 2020, okay? So just remember, soft skills are those where it involves people. How can you deal with people? Okay, that's a good way to remember it. So your resume should encompass 50% of hard skills, 50% of soft skills, and all skills should be relevant to the vacancy that you are applying to. Next slide. So when you are developing your resume, as frustrating as it may be, okay, I want to focus on the top half of your resume. Remember, you only have 6, maybe 7 seconds to gain the attention of your reader, and your reader may be me, the human resource specialist, or it may be the hiring official themselves. You only have 6 to 7 seconds to gain and maintain their attention. How can you do that? Use some of these rules that I created on my own. You want to use a good mix of what you learned through training and what you've learned through living. Can't get no simpler than that, okay? Train it, and if you continue to live, you're going to continue to build on your skills, whether that's soft skills or hard skills. But 9 times out of 10, it's probably more so your soft skills because you want to continue to mature those skills. Second, instead of using the words interpersonal skills, tell what they are. Nothing drives my blood more than seeing a resume that has the words interpersonal skills. Stop leaving it up to your reader to determine what interpersonal skills you possess. Tell the reader what it is. That's all you have to do. I don't know where interpersonal skills came from, but if you ever come to me for a resume, you will never see the words interpersonal skills. I still don't know the true definition of it. Like I don't. That's just something that came about, and I'm not sure how that holds weight over actually describing what skill you have. But if you ever get your resume developed by me, you will never see interpersonal skills used, okay? Never. Third, make these appear in the beginning of your resume. So the rule that you want to look at by this, right? You take your 8.5 by 11 sheet, you fold it in half. What you see at the top is where your career summary should be and where your skills section should be. That's where your 6 to 7 seconds will come into play. Okay. Now, these rule of thumbs are, again, driven to private sector resumes. In the federal government, we don't work like this. We don't operate like this. Okay. Our resumes do not look like this. So I would not tell you this information to use for a resume for the federal government. And then lastly, put the skills in their own section. Now, I say this because you want them to stand out. You don't, especially those that are relevant. How do you know a skill is relevant? If you're reading the job vacancy announcement and that particular thing is standing out to you, 9 times out of 10, it's a word that you would want to use and make it stand out. Okay. If you go back and you think about the word teamwork, and I kid you not, I'm seeing so many vacancies talk about being in a team and working in multitudes. They want to know how you can do that and if you can do it. And so if you're going to talk about teamwork, then it's best to create a skills section, put that word teamwork up there. When you get to the interview, you can tell all about your teamwork. You can explain a little bit in your work history, but save those good pieces for the interview. Okay. So just remember these rule of thumbs. When you're bragging on yourself about your skills, okay, they need to go in this section by themselves. Don't send us on a wild goose chase trying to figure out what skills you have. Just take the extra little step, the extra little time, and put them at the beginning of your resume. Okay, so remember, those rule of thumbs also, they pertain to private sector resumes and not the federal government resumes. That would be a total different discussion. All right, next slide. And here is how you can contact me if you have any questions, comments, concerns, gripes, months, and anything else. You having some of these frustrations that are going with trying to get your good skills identified, those that are also relevant to the vacancy announcement that you are applying to. You can reach me by going to my website, www.alishadbrown.com. You can send me an email at info@alishadbrown.com. You can hit me up on Facebook and Instagram at AD Brown Consults, and I'll respond to you there. Okay, so that's it for the presentation. When it comes to things like this, we want to give an ample amount of time to answer questions, even though it may not be, questions that are all the way relevant to your skills, but any type of resume questions you guys have, feel free to throw it out. And that's it for my presentation.
I'm gonna leave that slide up for a sec. Do you guys have any questions? Because I don't see anything in the chat, on the chat. I don't see anything. So I got questions then. So what would be, I don't know if you could get too much into it, but what would be different about the federal resume?
The first thing is the federal resume is and that website has its own resume builder in it. We always strongly advise, highly recommend all applicants to utilize that builder because it places the resume in a specific format that is easy for the hiring official to read. So that's the big difference between the two. Can you upload a resume, like a 1 or 2 page resume? Of course. You have that leisure to do that because that is an option on usajobs.gov. However, if you do that, be mindful that the system that is incorporated into usajobs.gov may not print out your resume in whole, meaning if you upload one page, by the time I get it on my end and I print it out, it may have several different pages. Your resume may come out in like 5 different pages. It'll put like unnecessary spacing in between. And then we're left to kind of literally cut the pieces and put them together to try and put all your information. So it's easy to read, so to speak. So the biggest difference between the two, a private sector and a resume for the federal government, would be the systems, the way that they are formatted, and then 2, the number of pages. So A federal government resume, you can have, my recommendation is no more than 5 pages. Can you have more than 5 pages? Absolutely. I don't know if somebody's going to take the time to read more than 5 pages, especially if it's not relevant information to the job. However, as an HR specialist, we do have to go through those pages. It would behoove you to try to condense your experience into 5 or less pages. I would say 3 to 5 for a federal resume. For the private sector, the pages for a private sector, I would say no more than 2. Private sector, you use a rule of thumb of number of years of experience. So for someone who has less than 10 years of work experience, you'd want to utilize 1 to 1.5 pages for a resume. For someone who has over 10 years, all the way to 30 and 40, how much ever you want to go, your maximum should be 2 to 2.5 pages. No more than 2.5 pages for the private sector. And can it be done? Of course. I think I specialize in condensing 25 years of work experience from military members into 2 pages. I love it. It's kind of fun, and they get it back and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you were able to do that!" Like, yeah, I took out.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you see the question that's on the screen?
Yes. Yes. Yes, I do. What do you tell someone who has a degree but does not have the experiences? So it depends. If the job the person is applying to is driven from education, then I would lean heavy on the information that you learned in your degree program. Meaning, and I'm going to use HR for an example because that's my field and that's what my degrees are in. In HR, if I took, let's say, compensation, right? I'm applying for a position that's dealing with benefits. Compensation falls under benefits, but I don't have the work experience. I'm straight out of high school or I'm straight out of college, and I don't have any volunteer experience. I don't have anything. All I can do is talk about what I learned in that course in college, and I went to St. Leo. So I would say everything that I learned in that class or online via St. Leo as it pertains to the job that I'm applying to. And that's how you would be able to meet the need by saying you have the educational background, but you don't have the experience background. And is it possible for you to still get a job that way? Absolutely. Yes, because you're showing that you're willing to learn the job. So don't let that frustrate you or throw you from applying for the job just because you don't have the experience. If you go to college or if you go to training somewhere, even if you do volunteer work, that's still experience, okay? However, it's not work experience, but you can still utilize that to apply for that job. Do you need a resume if you're a small-owned business? If so, why is it important? I always tell all small business owners to have a backup plan, okay? Are we not, and I'm going to use this pandemic as the perfect example for this. Are we not in a place where a lot of the small business owners are being put in harm's way by this pandemic and having to shut down and can't continue to make money? So what do? They go out here and get these loans only to get in debt more. The best thing to do is to create a resume. Talk about your management capabilities and apply for these jobs that are going remote. Okay, if the pandemic were not around, I would still advise you as a small business owner to have your resume together. If you are a veteran and you own a business, you have 2 positives working for you. Okay, you have the military background, and then you can also show that you're independent enough to run your own business. Now, a lot of people would fret away from that because they would believe they would be hard to talk about or explain the experience they have as a small business owner. Baby, that's the easiest thing you can do because it's only you running your business. So you can tell from an operational standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from a managerial standpoint, and from an administrative standpoint of all the skills that you possess. So yes, I would say have one as a plan B because you just never know when you may need it.
That was good info.
Appreciate. Any other questions?
If you're a small business and you do a resume just in case, how do you word that on the resume? And do you put all of that in one block for the time that you owned your business? Like, say if it's a chronological resume, and then you put from like, okay, so I had my business since 2013. If I put 2013 to 2020, and then I put all of that there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But then too, you also have the opportunity or the ability to group it into sections. So I would do headers as if just for me. Let's take away the fact that I work full time in the federal, right? Just say I run Alisha D Career Consulting LLC 100% full time. I'm going to have a section that talks about my administrative capabilities. I'm filing, I'm answering the phone, I'm faxing, I am making copies, I'm doing every administrative duty for myself. So I'm going to have just a section that says administrative duties or administrative management or something of that nature. I'm going to spruce it up some so I'm not sounding like I'm a secretary. Then I would have a section under that that may say financial management. Okay, I'm going to talk about how I am balancing my books. I'm my own accountant. Well, I'm not. My husband is. But you know, I would throw all of that in there. So that is the way that you could do it, so it doesn't look so convoluted, and so that it doesn't look like block style resumes, which is what the federal government uses. But still, if you're going to do that and you want to gather or capture the 7 years that you've been a business owner, that would be the best way to do it. Do you assist in writing for a small business owner? I sure do, Miss Shonda Taylor. Yes, ma'am. I've only done one. Yeah, I've only done one. She was coming from owning her own business, going back into the workforce. And it wasn't under the conditions of the pandemic. She was just tired of running her business. And so she was able to get a secretary position. She was very adamant. She did not want something that was going to stress her out. So she was okay with applying for a secretary position. And so we were able to pull her secretarial experiences and create her a one-page document, and Homeskillet got that job. She made her money. So yes, ma'am. I sure can assist you with developing your resume as a small business owner. Any other questions? Y'all better ask these questions. It's that free 99 now. Some people be charging y'all $150 an hour to get this info, so y'all better ask. And I don't do hourly charging. I think that that's kind of, well, it's just not fitting for the way my business is structured. But there are some career consultants who charge that. So y'all better be asking these questions. And I got it up over here too. I'm looking at it from my Facebook too. So, but this is so neat how everything pops up on one side and then it pops up over here. I'm like, oh my gosh, technology wins, y'all. Nobody else have any other questions? Okay, well, I'm gonna throw this out there because I would take it that the majority of the people here attending may have some military background or some type of affiliation with the military in some shape, form, or fashion. A rule of thumb that I too utilize for myself is, and I'm going to use myself as the example. I got out of the military in 2010, came straight into the federal government. I will be in touch. I need one for swim. Okay, no problem. So when I got out the military, I went straight into the federal government, and I have been in the federal government now for 10 and a half years. Because I have 10 and a half years of straight federal service, okay, not including my military time. I'm at 21 years of my military time, but I have 10 and a half years of straight federal. My resume does not reflect what I did in the military. I dropped it off once I reached my 10-year mark. A lot of people have a problem doing that because they feel like they're missing their military experience. They won't get acknowledged for their military experience. And let me just say this. If you're in the private sector, if you're applying for a private sector job and you want somebody to know that you are prior military, but your experience or your time served is beyond that 10-year time frame, you can easily put that down in a section by itself, or you can say it at the very end, United States military veteran. I've done that before. I didn't think it was going to work, but it did. I thought the resume was going to get thrown out, but it didn't. That person went on. They got the interview, but they didn't get the job. So, but yeah, I try a lot of things, but that's just one thing I like to put out there because it's only so much weight that your military service is actually going to carry as far as your experience goes. Once you start working and get and getting those years in the private sector or even in the federal government, we want to see more of your experience there. Not so much as to what you received while you was in the military, if that makes sense.
You see the question on the screen?
Yep, it just pops up. How far out from retirement from the military should I start my resume? 2 years. 2 years, especially if you have 20 years of service. If you got 20 plus years of service, you should start 2 years before your retirement date or before your separation date. 2 years. What is your training and how can folks get the training? What is my training?
I think they're wondering how you got into being an expert on resumes in this consulting part.
Oh, let me tell you. Okay, so I came into HR straight out of the military. Well, let me say this. My military set the foundation. My military experience set the foundation because in the Navy, I was a personnel specialist, which equates to being an HR specialist, if you will. However, nothing I did in the military as a personnelman compares to what I do in the federal government as an HR specialist, okay? It does not even compare to the roles and responsibilities of an HR manager or anything in the private sector either. It just gave me the title. So I came into the federal as an HR assistant. I started off in staffing. I started off processing personnel actions and learning how things operated when it came to recruitment. I did not like recruitment. I think I did it for maybe 2 years. Yeah, I did it for 2 years. I didn't like it. It wasn't intriguing to me. And so I crossed over to what is now known to be labor and employee relations, where I do all the firing, right? I'm the person that write the letters of the people who don't want to get their life together and act like an employee. Somebody got to do it. So when management tired of them and they, run themselves into a removal, they reach out to my office and we're the ones that draft that nice piece of document. So on top of being a part of many panels, okay, many hiring panels where I am rating and I'm ranking these hiring applications, I've also had extensive training as a member of the National Resume Writing Association, a very active member, where my career expertise is vetted by several other veteran career consultants. I mean, have been in the career consulting business forever. So before I can even make a move, or before I make a move, rather, I always go through one of them. I have 2 mentors. So between all of that training on a from an educational standpoint, because my degrees are in HR, from a professional standpoint, because of my years of service in both military and federal, and being a member of NRWA, that's how I came to be what I am today, a career consultant and a resume developer. Thank you for that tip. I still have my military experience on my resume. Yeah, man. Sometimes you gotta let it go. And you know, your DD 214 speaks volumes. Your DD 214 says a lot, especially if you are applying for federal government jobs. Yeah, you carry that weight with that DD 214. So your experience, you know, it doesn't go anywhere. But I would say this too: working in the civilian world, man, people don't care about your years of service. They don't care. They don't care. You know, when I first got out, that was one of the most realistic things I had to run into. I thought I was hotness, right? Coming straight out of the uniform, like y'all can't touch me. And I come right back to the seat as an HR assistant from an E5. Y'all can't tell me nothing. Oh, baby, them civilians shut it down. And they were straight civilians. None of them had a military background. So when you're working with straight civilians, they get you straight real quick. And they let you know, nah, we don't care about you going to serve in no Desert Storm.
Right. And a lot of people that are career military have a problem with that when they get out. Like if you retire a E6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, and they go into the civilian world and they think that that rank that they had in the military is going to mean something when they get out, it doesn't. And that's where a lot of career military, even people that was in for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, have a problem with that once they get out. So I know Alicia's talking, but that's one thing like you need to get in your head right now. If you're still currently serving, that means nothing. It means nothing when you get into the civilian world. So don't put that in the box with your uniform.
Pretty much, yeah. It sucks. It means a lot to us, but to them, nah, not so much. They don't care. They'll probably be lucky to get a pinky shake. Thank you for your service. All right. Anybody else got any questions? I don't think I have any more tidbits. Not at the top of my head. Not without getting too deep into it. You know, y'all can always book a consultation with me. Oh yeah, right now I'm running a special to the end of the month, the quarantine special. So you can get a career consultation with me. I think they're 60 now. Yeah, 60. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Or you can get a comprehensive resume analysis for 100. Those are not the regular prices. However, it is up there on my website and it's scrolling at the bottom. Yay. AliciaDBrown.com. Yep, head to it. You'll see everything you can book online, what's convenient for you. And it's time to, you know, get your career in the right place. Even if you just want to talk some things out, you just need to vent. You need to try to make sure you're making the right career moves. Just do the consultation. You know, I still look at your resume. I'll still look at your resume and give you some feedback, but it does a body good. It does a mind good to know where you're standing in your career and if you're making, you know, the right choices. Yes, I was told that at a briefing after getting out of the military. The person that was briefing said, no one cares that you have been in the military, so you need to do what you need to do in order to be competitive. Help my, yeah. Yeah, I believe that that's how they are. That's how they are here, y'all. They straight thug. They straight thug. Yeah. And I worked in the shipyard in Norfolk. Man, some of the things that I heard some of those hiring officials telling some of them applicants, Ooh, baby. And I think that's why I'm still in employee relations, because I get to advise management on how to talk to employees. That is very big, and it's an ongoing, never-ending job. It gets tiring at times, but I still get to have a certain impact and influence on the way certain things move about in the agency. So I've really, take heed to my position, but yo, as an applicant myself, I have to think about, what if they tell me some stuff like that? How would I respond? I don't know. I probably wouldn't even want the job then. Truth be told. Any other questions? This was good. This was good. This was good. So don't y'all forget your skills. Don't forget your soft skills. Don't forget your hard skills. Don't forget that you have the right to brag on yourself because you've been working for so long and just got to know how to brag. It's hard. It's almost like writing your evals. We call them in the Navy. But it's hard to kind of think of all the things that you've accomplished, how they have helped the mission. Is very hard, especially when you are dual-hatted. Boy, that's one of the hardest things ever. But see, that's why you work with somebody like me, and I'm gonna make you brainstorm. I'm gonna pull it at you. All right. Any other questions? I don't think I see nothing else.
I don't see anything else. Again, www.alishadbrown.com. If you have any questions, if you want to seek her services, as you see, she is an expert in her field. She's very knowledgeable, and she's very real, which is something that we need when we're doing this type of thing. Again, I want to thank Alisha for coming on, giving us this knowledge, answering questions. I hope she stays around in the group just to talk back and forth if anybody has any questions. But again, go to her website, seek her services, pay her for her knowledge. Hold on one second.
You're welcome. You're welcome, and thank y'all for the questions. Thank y'all for taking the time out to even listen. That shows the initiative you have to get your career in order. And sometimes that's all you got to do is just take that step. So this was step one. Now it's time for some of y'all to move to step two. And good luck to everybody. Y'all stay safe. Stay corona free. We corona free over here. Can somebody make me a shirt to say corona free? My son looked at me and told me, oh my gosh. Okay.
Alisha is our last speaker of the day, so I want to thank everybody for coming in today. We had a little bit of technical difficulties with the link to the group. I'm not sure why you guys can't get to the group, but I opened the group as far as being able to be searched. Oh, wait, somebody has a question.
Do you assist young adults? Young adults, how young? I would prefer working with 21 and up. However, I do have gurus that I am associated with through NRWA, who that is their specialty. I would just prefer 21 and up, and of course, my specialty is government resumes or resumes for the federal government. But I do private sector resumes as well. Yeah, 19-year-olds. Yeah, I choose not to deal with that age group. I would like to work with those who do have a little bit of work experience at the entry level, more in entry level, intermediate. But 19, I do know somebody. So if you want that point of contact, especially there, and she specializes in college students too. So I could definitely put y'all in contact with each other on Instagram or Facebook. I love her to death. That I send her all my stuff because I don't deal with them unless they have at least 2 to 3 years of work experience.
I have a question before you go. Does the government make that website like that to see who actually wants a job? Because I've gone on that website a million times. Like, I can't do this. This is too much. Like, why I got to do all this?
Girl, now you know anything with the government ain't easy. It ain't gonna be easy, and so I would say this though, from where USA Jobs used to be when I went into the military in 1999, it has come a long way. Even from when I got out in 2010, USA Jobs has come a long way to be more user friendly. Are there still some glitches and some complications with it? Absolutely, but nothing, nowhere how it was when I got out. I had to have a user guide.
Right, because I got out in 2006. I don't think I've been on USA Jobs since probably 2013, 2014, something like that.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot better, but it stands the chance for a little bit more improvement and more streamlining to it too. But who knows? I mean, we were just told a couple of days ago that some agencies may consider having their own websites to where you can go and do your hiring and everything, kind of like the FBI and the Secret Service. So yeah, you may see a lot more agencies start to pull away from USA Jobs. Just never know. It's way different now. It's a lot more user friendly. Now it is.
I'm gonna go on there because the last time I went on there, I was like, they want this, they want that, they want me to upload this, they want me to do this. I don't have time for this. Like, this is too much. Like, why I gotta write this whole essay? And
so yeah, the KSA, there's still a few positions that require KSAs, but for the most part, they've done away with it. It's more so now just answering the application questions through the application manager. And you have to make that fit your resume as well. So it's like you answer the questions and then your resume is supposed to be your supporting documentation for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Sam said,
the summit is actually over, but we just talking about USA Jobs and things like that. If anybody had anything to input with that, I know it's a lot. Like you said, there's a lot of military in the group, so that is something.
Yeah, I think for us, one key thing for military people to do is to upload copy 4 of your DD-214, not copy 1. We get 1 and 4 when we're discharged, but in USA Jobs, you need copy 4 and black out your social security number, black out the whole thing. There are plenty of documents once you become an employee that will require your social. But make sure you have copy 4 because there's just certain information that's on the copy 4 that's not on copy 1 that we need from the HR standpoint. Still in progress since December 2017. What that means, still in progress since December 2017. Still in progress of what? Building your resume on USA Jobs. I like this little platform. I might have to incorporate this.
Yeah, actually one of our speakers, April Money Smith, is the one that suggested this because the other platform that we were going to use was acting up. She I think she did an interview or something on here, and this is actually really good.
Yeah. I like it. Is it free?
Yeah. Mhm.
You don't
They
have no
have
time limit?
mm-mm.
Ooh.
They have upgrades. Like if you want to have your logo up at the top instead of that powered by StreamYard, but as far as I can tell, they're not asking
Okay.
for anything. They haven't asked me for anything, so
She
it's
said, yeah.
yeah.
What's holding you up from
Um,
finishing your application from 2017? Is it building your resume, getting all your information in there, or what's the problem that you're running into? So I guess what I'm gonna have to do is do a webinar and go through USA Jobs. That's what it sounds like. Navigating USA Jobs. I actually have one, but I probably need to update it. I did one back in like 2014.
that'll be a good webinar.
Yeah, I'm seeing that might be a need here because we don't want nobody holding on to 2017 stuff. It's 2020, girl. Come on, let's get this thing going. So it's too much. Yeah, it can be. It can be too much to take in one day, especially when you are just now starting out. I always advise my clients to break it down into like 2 or 3 days, if not a whole week, depending on what else you got going on in your life. Take it, take one day to get all your documents uploaded. Print out the OF 306, get one done, and put that in there, and get all your other supporting documentation, your DD 214. If you 10%, I'm sorry, if you 30% or more, you need the SF15 plus your VA letter, which is self-certified, so that's good. You don't have to go through the VA to get that 10-point added. But I mean, yeah, you need to do it day by day, definitely. I wouldn't encourage anybody sitting down to do it one day. I just wouldn't. It's too much. You'll miss something.
A lot of people have imposter syndrome because I see somebody saying I hate bragging on myself too. I can't see who it is because I'm on this side.
Okay.
But a lot of us as women have imposter syndrome, and imposter syndrome is thinking that you're not good enough for whatever it is whatever lane it is that you're in or trying to get into. And like Alisha said, like brag on yourself. I know it's hard because I get like that too, but you did that. You accomplished that. So you need to talk about it. Period. It said, is it bad to have 3 different resumes loaded in my phone?
Look, I was about over here like Medea was on that calculator, trying to find that unmute thing. um, is it bad? Okay, I won't say bad. Okay, it's not bad to have 3 different resumes in your USA Jobs. However, best be sure to use the right resume for the right job. Okay, if you're trying to do a career change and you have that resume up there that highlights skills that are relevant for a different type of career field, make sure you have it identified, career change or something that you know that when you're going through that application manager, you select the right resume. Because if you're applying for a KitchenAid, but you don't put up some uh, computer science resume, that don't tell me what you can do in my kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you have identified what each resume is and select the right one. So it's not really bad. And get this too now, you're the only one that can see your profile. I don't see it on my side. OPM may be able to see it, if they go in and decide to use it, but I doubt they do stuff like that. But it is an OPM owned system. So I'm sure somewhere down the line they have access to everything, to all the profiles, but they don't have a need to go in it. So the only person that really has that view site on your profile is you, until you release it through the application manager itself. So just remember which resume you have for what when you're applying for jobs, and use the right one.
Are cover letters still a thing?
So my answer was my answer was selected when somebody asked. It was a random job seeker through NRWA, which is the National Resume Writer Association, and random job seekers go on and ask random questions, and that was one of them. And I responded. I said, "It's not a matter of are they relevant or not. It's just would you need it." And a rule of thumb is just to have it on standby, ready to go, because you never know when that job vacancy announcement may require or request two different things, a cover letter. You don't submit it with your resume. It's always submitted as a separate document. Now, the cover letters for the federal government we don't do that. We don't know what a cover letter look like. Now, for certain positions, yes. For instance, your physicians, nurse and RNs, and CNAs, those medical fields at the VA, they may require cover letters, depending on, I know attorneys do. They have to have a cover letter, but it's very job specific when it comes to the federal. But when you're thinking about the private sector, if they ask for one in the job vacancy announcement, yes, upload it. If not, don't even worry about it. I thought they saw all of them, and I didn't want it to seem like, dang, this shit can't stay. The only way they'll see all three of your resumes is if you have all three on one document. So your document should be in PDF format. So if I go and I pull up your PDF and I see one resume and I keep scrolling and I see two and I see three, when you go to put it into the application manager, of course, I'm going to see all three of your resumes. But if you have them as three separate items in your documents, then no, I would only see the one that you choose. And for cover letters, just to go back, for a cover letter, keep it simple. Keep it simple, but still highlight who you are, what you can do, and how you can do it. Say your best bet. That's how I say it. Say your best bet and let them bet on you. But keep it simple.
So like one paragraph?
No.
Two paragraphs?
I would say definitely 3 paragraphs at most. You want an introduction, then you want to say, I possess this, this, and this, and this, and your second, and then you want your conclusion. Okay, I thought they saw all of them. Okay, no.
I think that's it. It's almost 5 o'clock too. So.
Okay.
This is good. Thank you, Alisha. Thank you, everyone, for coming on, coming in the group and participating and asking questions. Today was a good day. I wanted to be not so formal so that we can have a conversation, have dialogue. Not so structured, because a lot of times like this summits are so structured that you don't feel comfortable asking relevant questions. So I hope that you guys got a lot from our speakers today. We had Shonda Taylor, we had Brenda Harvin, and Miss Alisha D. Brown, and all of the information was amazing. And as long as you're in this group, it'll be here for replay. I'm also going to send it out to the registrants. So you'll have it, for later on if you want to go back and listen to it, or if you want to drive while it's playing, stuff. So I want to make sure that y'all have this information, and contact these ladies if you want resume or any type of consultant, have credit, business credit, home ownership type questions. If you're a single mom and you want to know how to navigate and build yourself up, contact Life Coach Brenda Harvin. They all have, I don't know if Alisha has a group, but I know Shonda has a group, and I know Brenda has, I think, 2 groups, and we'll try to put all of that information in the group. And again, if you are a woman veteran or if you know a woman veteran that is homeless, displaced, or in need of resources like their utilities need to be paid or something like that, please get them to contact the S.H.E.R.O Initiative Program. I am the program director, Alpha Gamma Xi Sorority Incorporated. We are all military women. And that's it. www.S.H.E.R.O.AGZI.org. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good evening.